Alrighty folks, this is the Insta360 X4 and it's a 360 camera. I've been enjoying this camera over the past couple of months and I'm not a sports and action type of person. I'm just a regular dude who happens to love camera tech, and I just want to tackle this from someone who is a content creator and not someone who, who lives an exciting life that goes, surfing or like dirt biking or like anything that's extreme. So I want to share with you guys how I would use the Insta360 X4. I just want to give a special thanks to Insta360 for providing me with a unit to make this video possible. The first thing I noticed about this 360 camera is how robust it feels in my hands. And this is a very thick camera, and I'm saying this because I have the Osmo Pocket 3, albeit it's a different camera for different things, but you can see that camera just seems very fragile compared to the X4. Now the X4 feels very good to hold in my hands, and I feel that a little drop won't hurt this camera. The camera does have a standard lens guard now, and this is to protect the lens from drops, bumps, and stuff like that. In order to get the best picture quality, Insta360 said you need to remove the lens guard before you record. However, if you're like doing like heavy action like motocross or anything that involves like dirt, sand, gravel pavement and stuff like that, you should get their premium lens guard, which is scratch resistant tempered glass, and it'll help retain image quality. Now me personally, I always leave my lens guard on because I live in the south of Portugal and there's just different weathers that I have to deal with here. Now it can get windy, so if I were to record myself, the wind blows, it could potentially knock down the camera and crack the lens, and I don't want that. We also get like sandstorm that comes from like Africa as well. And also I live close to the beach where there's sand and the Atlantic Ocean, so there's ocean mist. So for me and my peace of mind, I would leave it on. The camera has great battery life as well, and I'm quite impressed with that because I consider this an action camera. So to me, action cameras never really had great battery life. It dies quite fast. But I was recording 8K footage for a very long time thinking it would die soon, right? I probably recorded like 15 to 20 minutes straight of 8K footage. It probably got down to like half a battery from a full charge, which is pretty good. I did run into overheating with this camera, and this is due to the fact that I was outside in 35 degrees Celsius filming 8K footage, and the camera did shut down to cool off, and I felt the X4 getting a bit warm. Now after I gave it some time to cool off, it was back and ready to go. So just be mindful of where you are and don't constantly film in 8K out in the hot sun. Now speaking of 8K, when you export your footage, you don't export it out to 8K. What this means is you have an 8K 360 sensor to play with, and from there, if you want to like frame different shots, you can zoom in and move things around and still have some good resolution left over. So by the time you export your footage, you are either left with like 4K or 2.7K image depending on how much you crop into the frame. Now, if there was one thing I would like to know when like keyframing my 8K footage is, whenever I zoom in and keyframe my shots using the Insta360 Studio app, I would like to know how much resolution I got as I'm zooming in. This would be great to know because I would still like to have some resolution and detail. If there was a way for Insta360 to add that in a firmware update, that will be great because I still want my footage to look sharp and crisp, and this allows me to exercise caution on how much I should zoom my 8K footage in post. Now when it comes to features on this camera, the X4 is really straight to the point. There's like no creative color picture profiles like you get on the Ace Pro. You just get the standard, the vivid, and the flat profile on the X4. There are different modes you can use in this camera for both 360 camera and the single lens mode as well. The photo mode, the video mode, the active HDR, which can be filmed in 5.7K. There's a time-lapse mode, there's a time shift, bullet time mode, loop recording, star lapse, burst interval, and HDR photo. Unfortunately, if you do use 8K recording, you don't have the active HDR, which I think is a nice feature on the Insta360 Ace Pro, and I kind of wished it was on this camera as well. Another thing I wish this camera had is 10-bit log recording. That would have been nice to have. It would have been nice to have all that data in post to color grade. So hopefully we can see that in the next iteration. The X4 can film up to 8K 30p for 360, and it can also do 5.6K 60 frames per second and 4K at 100 frames per second if you like some of that slow motion. So how do I use this camera? I really like how unique the 360 camera is. Because with action cameras or any type of like pocketable vlogging setup, you always need to be present and frame up that shot and make sure everything is correct before you can start filming. With this camera, I find that I can just press record and not have to think about composition because I can always reframe it in post. Now, that is something that you don't get on your conventional action cameras. I've been filming my training sessions at the gym where I just plop this camera on the ground with the Insta360 selfie stick and the tripod handle. What happened was I got myself lifting a heavy set, and as well another gym patron who reacted to my lift. This wouldn't have been possible with just a standard camera. Now this just feels like I have like two cameras in one, which is freaking amazing. You got one camera pointed at the person reacting, and you got one camera pointed at me lifting.
God, can I crack on? Yeah, fuck. Woo! Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I've also been using this camera to vlog. I took it around town here and just got some stuff around here. And again, in order to unlock all the potential of this camera, you're going to need a few things. And one of those things is you need an invisible selfie stick. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys all seen this by now, but Insta360 cameras, this Insta360 camera is smart to recognize that I'm holding a selfie stick. It will remove that stick from the footage, which is pretty insane. So whenever you walk around, you won't be able to see that selfie stick in your footage. I use it to vlog my gym sessions. I use it to vlog my photography sessions and just going out and experimenting and filming different things. I also have an extended selfie stick, which can go up to 3 meters high, which is freaking insane. And this one is really cool too, because you can fake a drone shot. So if you're ever in like a location where a drone is not allowed, you can use your Insta360 X4, press record, plop this camera in the sky, just walk around with that extended selfie stick, and you got yourself a drone that follows you everywhere, which is freaking incredible. I think this is pretty cool for some folks out there that wants like a quick B-roll clip to add into their video, but don't want to take out their drone and set everything up. The drone sometimes draws a lot of attention because of the loud noises that it makes from the propellers as well. The bullet time feature is a feature that I've seen everywhere on social media, and what you need is the invisible selfie stick and as well as the bullet time accessories. You just need to attach the selfie stick onto the side mount of the bullet time accessory and hold the handlebar and start swinging, and you'll get some interesting shots. Another thing I've been using this camera on is to like ride my electric scooter around and just mount it there or mount it in my car. Now again, this is just to get like different scenes, so I'm just trying out different things. Mostly, you know, attach it to my modes of transportation to show like hyperlapses, time shift, and I would use the Insta360 desktop app to edit all the clips. Now, you can also use this camera as sort of like a dash cam in your car. If you guys are a fan of Deadmau5, he used to do this series called like Coffee Run, where he would, you know, mount a GoPro on the dash, take his celebrity DJ producer friends for a coffee run while chatting with them. Insta360 X4 can be the better camera if you want to do something similar. Record chats amongst friends, film on the Insta360 camera so you can get all the perspectives and at least have like a variety of different shots while you're driving instead of, you know, one static shot with just two people in the car. So you can get a side perspective, you can get a front perspective, and, you know, different perspective to show people where you're going. So again, the possibilities are endless with this camera. Now let's get to some issues that I have with this camera, and it's nothing to do with the camera itself. It's just the software and the workflow of it. Now 360 cameras are really different from regular cameras. Their file formats are totally different, and you can't just like drag and drop them into your video editor timeline. So you're going to have to get like the Insta360 Studio desktop app and pick out the frames you want for yourself and then export that footage, and then you can add that exported footage into your timeline. So this is just another step you have to take if you want to edit your shots on your computer. Another gripe I have about the desktop app is it's not as full-fledged as the app on your smartphone. On the Insta360 smartphone app, there are many different templates that help create the video that you want if you're not so proficient at video editing. This is the route you should take if you are not good at video editing. They also have like AI features that are found only in the phone app, but not in the desktop. So the AI can help recognize the scenes for you, and what they do is pick out the best part of the clip and highlight that. There's lots of things you can do. However, you are limited to just editing on your smartphone which is like another learning curve that you're gonna have to hurdle through. Now, I've never found editing on my phone to be as efficient and as effective as editing on my computer with like a keyboard and a mouse. So using a phone does feel limited to me. But if you're a content creator or just want to have good footage and not even think about the frames, the Insta360 smartphone app can help you piece things quickly without any stress. For me, I like a little bit more control, so I'll do it on the Studio app. And I do need to point out a few more cons that I ran into. Now, if you are totally new to 360 cameras and 360 footage, this may be a learning curve. I wouldn't say the learning curve is hard, but it is a little bit tedious. Once you record a 360 footage, you're going to need to go into the app to reframe the footage. And you will need to do this for all the footage that you record. So it may take a while to figure out what frames you want, what kind of shots you want, because as much as the possibilities are endless, that means that there is more thinking involved in the post-production to get the final result. I find that I can take up to like 30 minutes editing a 1 minute 360 footage that I will cut for social media, which is a good chunk of time, these 8K video files. So you're going to need at least a good enough smartphone to edit these files, or a good enough laptop. If you find that you are having a hard time editing these 360 footages, chances are it could be your phone or your computer. Now, this is something to keep in mind because otherwise you will have like a bad experience or just end up spending an additional cost to edit 360 footage. Another thing I would love to have on this camera, if it was possible, was perhaps to shoot in some sort of vlog profile. It'll be helpful in high dynamic range situations that I'm always in. It'll give me a little bit of flexibility in post to match the footage with my mirrorless camera footages. The footage I get on the Insta360 camera is really good for social media content, where I did try to mess around with the 9:16 vertical format, and I think it produces some great colors while keeping a sharp image thanks to its 8K sensor. It's been fun trying to come up with different shots and different angles with this camera. I think Insta360 did a great job with this camera, and I also think it's one of the more unique cameras that I've used due to its 360-degree field of view. I feel this camera is for everyone in any sorts of niche that they're in, whether it's like lifestyle, sports, action, adventure, vlogging, cooking, whatever you think you want to film. I think this 360 camera can help you get the job done. Whether you wanted to vlog, grab some creative shots, or just want to hit record and not have to worry about composition, this camera has got you covered. It has great battery life, and it'll give you so many unique perspectives from just one single clip that you record. Now, if you're interested in this camera, I'll leave the links to it down in the description below. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this camera. What do you think of the Insta360 X4? And consider subscribing if you found this video helpful, and thanks so much.